Namaste. Breakups and addictions. Why do you keep going back? Today, I'm going to explain the brain chemistry behind it. I'm going to do a little bit of reading because we're going to talk about medical evidence. I'm Dhruva MD, a practicing board certified family doctor, and I have been single for 7 years, and I share that journey with people, and I just got ghosted. I know what you must be feeling like. You must be feeling like you're worthless, nobody likes you, nobody wants to be with you ever. You're in the throes of rejection. And when you're rejected, there are resentments that develop. A lot of the times, you're going to start questioning what you did, even just like one text, ruminating over and over again, going back and forth, maybe looking at Chat GPT, trying to see how this text is going to come across, maybe sending it to a few people and asking them what their opinion is, and then getting skewed, taking all of this advice, looking up things online, seeing what you could have, should have done, saying that it's your anxiety, it's your depression, it's your ADD. Maybe you could have done this differently, constantly ruminating. Well, here today, I'm going to break down the science behind it and let you know that what you're thinking is not out of the ordinary. It's not something that you should feel ashamed about. It's something that we need to figure out a way to understand and embrace. And looking at that, I don't want you to feel like you're invisible, that no one will love you again, no one will take care of you again. I don't want you to feel like this is the end of the road. You still have so much potential if you put the personal development work in. I know that when you get ghosted, you feel like you're not validated. Nobody loves you. Nobody will ever love you again. These are some feelings that are very, very common. And these are our chemicals crashing. It's literally emotional withdrawal. And this isn't about weakness. It's your brain screaming for something that it already had. For a long time, I was so embarrassed about living alone. Now, I'm a practicing board certified family doctor. You would think that I would have like a family, kids, my pets would be, I don't know, walked by somebody else, like a family member, a cousin. Well, the truth about it is that my mom was schizophrenic. She was institutionalized for 27 years. We only knew each other for the last 7 years of her life, and she died 4 years ago. My brother was found dead for 17 days from meth and alcohol misuse. My dad has narcissistic personality disorder. He's doing his own thing. And I felt like I was just dumb, stupid, and I wasn't good enough. And being alone just seemed better. But I had to figure out a way to survive alcohol addiction, marijuana addiction, gambling addiction, because this is what I would do when I was ghosted before. Eating bad, gaining weight, lying down for weekends at a time, but for years. And I've only been sharing this journey over the last 2, 3 years where I feel like I've achieved emotional freedom. And I want to kind of take you through what I've done. And what I've done is I understand I'm a medical doctor. I get that I've been sober for 7 years from alcohol and drugs. When I was younger, I was abused by my dad. My dad would make me hit my mom. I didn't know my mom for several years. I was bullied in school. After that, being a people pleaser was just so difficult. Lying, not telling people the truth. Let's say, for example, oh, did you have a couple of drinks last night? Yeah, no, I only had 1 to 2 drinks, but I had 1 to 2 drinks in like an hour. Just kind of lying to myself, disrespecting myself, and overall having low self esteem and just hating myself. Well, what did I do to go from self hate to self love and not put somebody through a bad relationship because I was not healed? What did I do to make sure that I didn't play victim and I didn't reject somebody else and try to control them because I couldn't control myself? What did I do to accept and embrace myself instead of fixing and fighting off these demons that I had? Here's what I wish I knew back then. And it wasn't like I was a big problem, I would say. I didn't realize it up until recently that I think God put me in this position for a reason. He put me in this position so I can sit through this, live through it, write through it, accept, embrace, and understand it, rely on myself, accept myself, be confident in myself and my limitations, show myself compassion, empathy, love what I don't like about myself, forgive myself, and finally I'll be able to receive love to somebody else. And I've proven that in the last 2 relationships that I've been in, is that through writing, communication, growth mindset, and shared values, that you can do this. And the medical evidence supports it as well. And it took me a lot. I was single for 7 years. Actually, I was single for 10 years. But 3 of those years, I was actively searching for somebody. But during these times, I was not. There was a couple of girls that asked me out. When you're single, people will ask you out, when they know that you don't want to be with somebody. I'm like, look, I hate myself too much. I don't want to control anybody else when I don't understand myself. I don't want to control myself and regulate my mind. I don't like this emotional regulation, although dialectical behavioral therapy does really speak to it. But I don't like the idea of regulating my mind. I just want to accept and embrace it. And with that said, there's nothing good or bad about that. We're not trying to be strong, positive. We're not trying to uh, block things out and say, forget about it, let it go. No, we need to sit with the whole thing. And remember, this could take several years. As I'm talking about the 10 years of being single, 7 years I was single on purpose. And it took me about 5 years of writing to go from self-hate to self-love. Remember this. I was terribly embarrassed about being alone. I didn't want people to think that I'm dumb, stupid, anxiety, depression, ADHD, bipolar, all kinds of stuff that people would place on me. Psychiatrists giving me all these medications, nothing bad against them, nothing bad against doctors. I'm a prescriber too. But I had to find a different way. And I had to first accept and understand the anatomy of what's going on. And with that said, I went to cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, eye movement desensitization, reprocessing therapy, rational emotive behavioral therapy, metacognitive behavioral therapy. I have a certification in mindfulness-based stress reduction. But the biggest value that I bring to you here is the intense writing of how did he do it? What did he do to go from self-hate to self-love and have it stick and sit with it for the rest of his life? What is he doing? How is he feeling good 70% of the day? I don't feel good all day long, right? But I want to know what I did to work for it. With that said, some of these definitions, let's do a quick hit on some of these definitions that happen when you get ghosted, when you break up. There are these bonds that are there, and it's very real. Oxytocin is a bonding chemical, and that's why you crave connection. And when it's gone, it hurts so much, and you hurt so much. The cortisol levels rise so high because the oxytocin is gone. Dopamine is a reward system. That's why you seek validation, text, attention. Trust me, I'm still doing this, but remember how I said that. I said 70%, 60 to 70%. There are those rare days that I do feel 100%. But on the other days, I'm still checking a text. There's a time that I could even go on Instagram, look to see what she's doing. But I don't even know this girl's Instagram that recently ghosted me. And a side note, I've been ghosted so many times by so many people. And I myself have broken up with girls as well, right? But this hit a little bit different because I don't think anything happened. We didn't argue. None of that stuff happened. But this video is not about her. It's not about bashing anybody. It's about me understanding and trying to define what could be going on. Another example is serotonin, mood regulation, low, rumination, anxiety, shame. So this is where the mind hygiene comes in. Anxiety, rumination, and shame, rejection. What did I do? Should I have done something? I could have done this better. What happens here is that with this shame and guilt, you live with it, and then you start talking to other people. You start asking other people for questions. Oh, kitty, better. Come here. No, there it is. Okay. You don't want to be touching that right there. Yeah. And when it does come to looking for validation, you don't want to be talking to a bunch of people. You don't want to be asking them a bunch of questions. You want to be able to understand what you did. Oh, Katie, come here. Hey, get out of the way. That's right. Yeah. And that's where the serotonin, mood regulation, I would discourage that word. I would try to say understanding of the mood would be a little bit better. The rumination is so bad. You got to write over and over again. And you don't want to write on a Google Doc. You got to write it down. Isn't that right, Kitty? Norepinephrine, emotional memory alertness, keeps the brain in the pain loop. And as you start taking more and more pain in and not writing it and not writing through it and not sitting down for at least 1 second every 90 minutes is good enough to write. And when you do that, some of these hormones will be able to stabilize the oxytocin, the dopamine, and the serotonin, and the norepinephrine. Medical evidence shows that fMRI studies show rejection activates the same brain region as physical pain. Imagine that. Oxytocin withdrawal is very real. It's like coming off of a drug. Unfortunately, I have the experience of all of it. I've been rejected many times and it hurts, stings. I mean, I can't place it in the same bucket as cocaine withdrawal, but I did cocaine for about 6 months. And coming down from it, was really harsh because, I was doing it for like a day or two at a time. But with this is painful. Like as I talk to patients about emotional disruption and emotional well-being and emotional freedom, just being completely dysregulated, out of control, ambiguous. What's going to happen? Am I this person forever? Those thoughts are so pervasive, and that rumination is so dangerous. And that dopamine seeking behavior, let me go look it up. Let me go look at somebody else. Oh, how about these things? Let me talk to an ex. Let me go back online dating. Those are all bad news. You don't want to do that to yourself. You want to become a mind hygiene individual. You want to become a high value individual that people will gravitate towards. When you personally develop yourself, when you take care of yourself, when you create your own path, not my path. You don't need to I'm not giving you advice today. I'm just trying to inspire you. You create your own mind hygiene. You create your own system. People will just gravitate towards you. You will prime yourself for the prize. You will be the one that people will transfer responsibilities over. You're the one who's going to onboard slow and then fire fast. You're the one who's going to measure your success. It's going to be measurable. You're the one who's going to say, whatever I do will be inevitable. You will be able to be so good that you cannot be ignored. If you are spiritually well, mindfully well, physically well, sexually healthy, financially healthy, creatively, and your core values are intact, people will gravitate towards you. You'll have to fend them off. It will happen. But that doesn't negate the fact that things don't sting. And that's where you want to sit with it. And the emotional pain, the cortisol elevation, the immune suppression, the poor decision making can lead you to have a heart attack, stroke, kidney disease. No, a stroke, kidney disease, heart disease. I see this so often with patients when they're like, oh, well, what happened was I got in a breakup and then I started smoking again. I started drinking. And then you know what? I just got lazy and started eating McDonald's more and more. And then what happens? You start seeing doctors, ER, urgent care, cardiologists, neurologists, psychiatrists, goes on and on and on. Rehab. There's so many times I've seen this where patients have had a divorce or a breakup. What do you want to do then in these situations? What you don't want to do is go to the common addictions after a breakup, as what this video is about. Sugar, sweets, junk food, alcohol, weed, nicotine, online dating for dopamine hits, gossiping, trauma bonding. That means you talk to somebody and say, hey, look, bro. Or if you're a girl, hey, look, girl, can you believe that guy did that to me? Oh yeah, that person did that to me too that one time. Man, you know what? Curse them out. Curse them out. Oh, they're such a bad person. Oh, you're such a good person. Now, we're not going to discourage you talking to other people, but don't talk to anybody. Don't write to anybody. Don't text anybody. Don't talk to anybody about what happened until you've written it down and understood. Don't even talk to me about it. Don't even listen to me. You got to write down what you're thinking. The calling people and agreeing with their pain you won't be able to accept what you're living with, and you'll carry all of that over into the next relationship. Why do you stay stuck? You stay stuck because you think time will heal it, or your brain will keep looping thinking that it will. And you haven't given yourself the pain a place to land, and you're avoiding stillness, and you don't have a system to rewrite the narrative. Now, this is where the rejection toolkit comes in, and I've made something up affectionately that I call SARU, SAARU. Sadhu is comfort food in Karnataka. My family's from Bangalore. Now, my parents lived the American dream for me. I'm grateful to be able to have all the resources to be able to talk to you about these things. Sadhu is SAARU. S is smile. So then you just train your mind to keep on smiling. Smile, and then S would be to take a soul. What do I mean by that? That means what would typically people do when they feel bad? Eat ice cream, lie down, scroll, maybe a drink, drug. Instead of that, take a soul, meaning create a video. Well, why don't you write something down? Why don't you go to go on a hike, go on a run? That's what I mean by taking a soul. I get that from David Goggins. He's like, man, you know what? You just got to take a soul when you're feeling down. And I don't disagree with him. Go run for 1 second, write for 1 second, eat healthy for 1 second. That's good enough. Accept defeat. This is one of the things that people don't like to hear. But if you don't accept, you fight, you fix, you overcome, you control, you're going to have more problems. That resentment is going to lead to you having health problems, mental health problems, and the list goes on and on. You don't want to end up like me with a drug-induced manic episode because I didn't forgive myself. And that happened to me when I was 39. I was labeled bipolar after that. And what I've done is I've accepted and embraced it, become so mindful that my psychiatrist is like, I don't think you ever had it. He's like, you had a substance-induced manic episode. Anybody that does a lot of cocaine will probably get that. And, I was in rehab. You don't want all of these problems. That's why you just want to accept it. And what happens is that when you do accept it with mind hygiene, you're able to understand yourself. Mind hygiene has medical evidence to support it. It rewires your prefrontal cortex when you write. It reduces emotional reactivity and cortisol. It creates clarity in your identity, not just in your pain. And it doesn't work all the time. And that's the best part about it. And when people say, what do you mean it doesn't work? I'm like, it's not supposed to. You're supposed to feel the hurt. This is the biggest thing that I see with patients and people that I know is when they get through a breakup, they start talking to an ex, they start calling people, they start calling that person, trying to find another way to call them, looking them up online, going on another date, trying to talk bad about them. I mean, these are all so it's such emotional turmoil. Like when I think about it, I'm like, dang, I don't know what it's like to talk bad about somebody anymore, including me. When I stop judging myself is when I stop judging others. If this video speaks to you, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'll be dropping videos every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm grateful that I'm able to work through this ghosting, through this process without compromising my core beliefs of eating bad, eating sugar. I mean, it's not like I don't want to do it. I'm just forcing myself to do videos to inspire my patients. The real you's who you are when nobody's watching. And I could not dare. I want to go out on a date. I want to go talk to somebody. I'm going to remain single until I can understand why it happened and forgive myself, forgive her, and move forward without carrying this into the next relationship. And what you can do is you could download the Mind Hygiene PDF. There will be a link in the description where you can follow along, understand kind of what it means to write through some of these things. I'll give a story in there for you to understand. Maybe you could insert your story. What I would suggest is that you got to be kind to yourself, because if you're taking action, you got to be nice to yourself. You got to understand nobody sat you down and said, this is what you need to do. And I would like for you to also inspire from this and not take my advice like I'm some sage. I just have lived through it and I'm living through it right now. And I feel that this is my calling. My calling was to suffer in silence for several years. I've lived alone almost all of my life. I thought it was such a bad thing, but I didn't realize just up until recently. A couple years ago, I knew I was destined for something else. But just over the last few months, I've realized that YouTube, me expressing myself, I'm a professional speaker. I speak all over the world on this. I trained myself to speak. The first time I ever spoke, I pooped in my pants when I was younger. When I was doing a book report, I was so scared I had to go to the bathroom. And when it does come to speaking, when it comes to accepting and honoring fear, instead of trying to fight and overcome it, you can do it. I went to Toastmasters. I started looking at what people are doing. I have 50 speaking coaches, 6 therapists. It goes on and on and on. So when you're able to understand some of these things and take time to honor fear instead of forget it or fight it or conquer it, you will be the next best version of yourself. And when you are, what's going to happen is that give yourself about a couple years on this program, on any program that you do. You got to be kind to yourself. And when you're there, they're going to be like, look, can you believe the way you look right now? You're glowing. You don't look like you have any resentment. You don't have any hatred towards anybody. You love yourself and you love what you don't like about yourself. And how about this? You're able to carry this forward. And you know what? You look so physically fit. You're not eating sugar anymore. You're not eating carbs anymore. And how are you able to fit into those clothes? And how are you getting all of those bonuses, those job offers? What are you doing to be like that? And you're going to say, when I went through a breakup, when somebody ghosted me, I accepted and understood it. I didn't fight it. I wrote through it. Doesn't have to be mind hygiene, but I wrote it on a board, paper, pen, pad, dry erase board, anything. What do you think, Suwarna? You've seen me write all the time, right? She's almost 7 this year. And then they're going to say, inspire me.